Hey guys, what's going on? It's Stuff Crest for the win here with the Covenant tutorial that should have been done a long time ago. So to begin with, switch to your VR and kill the 3 grunts to the right as quickly as possible, then throw grenades. 2 grenades to kill the pack of grunts, and then the brute, which immediately spawns these enemies up ahead that I'm going to try to laser. You can sometimes get mega chain kills with that, so it just depends on the timing of it. You'll see that I side strafed at the beginning to grab spike grenades to stick to those turrets. I then laser shot a group of brutes there. Sometimes they line up and sometimes they don't, but I used the laser shot on that. Some people use the laser shot on the wraith instead of jumping on it and throwing a grenade like I did there. But that is completely your choice. And then these grunts always tend to run behind the pelican, which is really annoying. And always check behind you to make sure that there aren't grunts alive. Here's just showing you the enemy spawns there and how the chieftain runs behind that brute. You can chain the chieftain as well, so you don't have to kill him later. Kind of like this, I killed a whole bunch of them in one laser shot. Make sure you grab this fuel rod gun right here, and check around for a power drain. You may want to use that for a later strat, but the strat's really risky. I'll explain it later, but for now, just keep that in mind. So anyway, you head over here to grab the Warthog. I am going to revert back to a different strategy though. There's 2 ways to do the beach fight. One is just to do the beach fight normally like I did. Or 2, you can laser the side of this wraith to damage it a bit and actually steal the wraith. Melee the hatch off, do not kill the driver. Then hold your reload button down while you can't see the hold to board thing. Make sure you're crouched over top of them. And then while you're holding RB, continue to shoot his head, and then he'll die and you'll take his place in the AA Wraith. And so you just take the AA Wraith up the hill and boost all the way up. The AA Wraith is a slower strat than doing the beach fight normally. But most people can't get low 40 beach fights, so this is an option if you want like a decent time to get up the hill with consistently, I guess. The only problem is the chieftain will sometimes power drain you, and that wastes time, obviously. And what's going to happen is as soon as you get up the top of this hill, oh yeah, make sure you don't get out of the wraith because it will explode. So, if you get out halfway down the hill, you're totally screwed. But whenever you get up here, you want to make sure to get into the ghost to drift, or not drift, boost to the next tower. I am going to revert back to where you would have the Warthog, just to show you the same. I guess I'm showing you the same thing, but the Warthog path is a little bit different. You want to keep your speed while going up the hill. What you're going to see is when I wrap around this corner, you stay to the left. If you wrap around those trees, you keep your speed instead of getting hit by these ghosts. Because these ghosts go straight at you, so if you don't avoid them, you're going to lose your speed and you lose a little bit of time. The Warthog is fast, so you can get up pretty fast along the hill. It is faster than a mongoose, by the way, just so everybody knows. So we're about where we are with the AA Wraith. Difference, obviously, is you don't have to grab that ghost or any weapons from that case if you want those weapons. You just drive straight through. What you're going to want to do is right at the entrance to this doorway, you're going to want to stop in the corner because these guys come flying out and you can't avoid them. So you just wait until they fly past and then you drive in. Make sure you don't get the Warthog too close to this door because it can deload. There's multiple ways up into this elevator without doing the intended path. One, you can fuel rod the ground in front of this box and jump up. Or 2, you can run to the left, this is a really simple tactic. And if you're going to do the strat, you might as well grab the power drain here as well. If you want the power drain for that later strat, it's right there. But you just jump on that box and jump in to that area. Make sure you crouch though. Here you're gonna see me boost up. You can do this in both towers. I boost up onto this laser thing right here so you can get up quicker. I switch to my laser immediately and I try to get, you can usually get a triple laser here if you wait long enough. Most of the time the enemy spawn first. 1 usually heads to the right and 2 usually heads to the left. Luckily they all kind of stayed centralized, so I blew them up pretty quickly. It can be really difficult to pick up weapons here because of all the crap that's in the way. I'd try to pick up a regenerator or invincibility just to do something later that you're gonna see. So you head down this elevator. Obviously you're gonna have different weapons for this part, like depending on what you prefer. I prefer the hammer and laser. Some people prefer like DR and the hammer or whatever, but it's up to you to make those strats. I didn't feel like showing those because I don't do them, and it doesn't really matter that much. You're gonna find your own style to do this. So you can box launch out of here. It doesn't really save that significant amount of time, especially if you're setting up the box like that. But just so you know that that's an option. Normally I just walk through here and swing my hammer once to kill all those guys because they can drop plasma grenades that you can use. With the hammer launch you can easily splatter yourself, so that's also why people don't do that. It's not really a necessary technique. So here you want to make sure to take the Warthog. The Warthog is faster than the Mongoose just because when you go downhill it's 10 times faster. So when you're driving down here, just make sure you don't flip. Obviously that's the only time loss you can get from this section right here, is flipping over. Alright. Well, in the meantime, we're driving, and more driving. There's not really too much to say about this part. You're gonna grab a Hornet down here. I recommend just keeping your speed the whole way down here, and then you kind of jump out a little bit early. You can jump and keep your momentum, and then just jump right into the Hornet. I instead tried to drive past it. I don't really know what I was doing there, but it is what it is. Here, once again, it doesn't matter. You're just flying straight forward. There's nothing special about this. And like I said before, you're going to have different weapons for different towers depending on what you feel comfortable with. I usually carry the laser through with 3 laser shots, 1 for the first tower, 1 for the second tower, and 1 for the hammer chieftain later, which some people just kill with a fuel rod gun or other weapons. The only problem with my strat is the second tower. This fight's a little bit harder because you don't have any kind of guns or explosives other than grenades. That's why I picked up those grenades earlier. Here I kind of tilt my Hornet so that I jump out straight. It's just a little bit of a time save, I think. There's grenades, frag grenades on the ground here that you might want to pick up as well. So there's multiple ways to get onto this elevator. There's seriously multiple ways to get on this elevator. One, you can throw a frag grenade kind of like this, crouch down, look directly down, drop a frag grenade, and swing up. This is a little inconsistent though because those drones will fly down and pressure launch you sometimes and do crazy stuff. Here it is more consistent, doing the grenade launch from out here because it's usually quicker to set it up. I wouldn't recommend doing a frag grenade from there. I'd rather do a plasma grenade kind of like this. Throw it down in front of you and jump. You can throw it down here as well, back here, instead of throwing it in front of you. I don't know. I'm just giving you multiple ways to do this. It's really, they're all the same strategy. Here I took a brood shot from outside from the broods and shoot it down at the ground, directly down, so I can boost myself up. You shoot and jump at the same time. Here, like I said before, you can laser, and sometimes you can catch an invisible brood in front of the chieftain to double kill them. Use a lot of grenades if you're having the hammer laser strat here. If you're not, you can use like explosives like the fuel rod gun to kill everyone. Yeah, but mostly just spam grenades for that fight is the essential thing. And also, they tend to split 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, and then one will occasionally cut across, so just be aware that that's a thing. And you can't always use your radar because they radar jam you, so it's a little bit difficult, but you can get used to it. Okay, so here, there's another box launch you can get out of here with. This one's a little bit safer. You don't really need to set up that box launch, you just kind of sit in the perfect place and you swing off of it, and you're good, going out that door. Here you can slide jump off these little slopes here to gain you speed. You can kind of do like a little wrap around thing, it's kind of cool. Immediately jump on to the Warthog. The Warthog is the fastest vehicle and it's the easiest to drive as well, so make sure you pick that one up. Coming around this corner, you make sure to hug the wall tightly because this prowler will just annihilate you, or whatever the hell that vehicle's called, because no one uses it. And you're going to want to take the left path over here. Keep going downhill as fast as possible. And take this jump. You kind of want to go off the jump. Kind of on that black spot right there. And you want to make sure, hopefully you don't get that. You can't really control enemy movements, but just make sure you try to smoothly drive through there and avoid too much collisions and flipping and falling off ledges. So coming up here, you want to grab the Hornet, and the very first strat I'm going to show you here is pretty straightforward. I take the Hornet and go directly right. Most people go, well, some people go left. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's going to take the same amount of time. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shoot that little green thing until it blows up the back, and then you shoot immediately at the shield, that blue shield in the back of the Scarab to blow it up really quickly. Immediately boost over here. Make sure that that Scarab leg isn't in your way because it'll blow up your Scarab. It'll literally splatter you, and then you're going to want to land over top of this and jump out and hammer the shield. This guy can also do a bunch of things like back up and do stupid shit that makes it really, really hard to land on it. So you just got to be careful whenever you're dropping out that you're going to land there. Here's the second option you can do for this fight, which is extremely easier than that. This like strat, even a 10-year-old could do it. It's so freaking easy. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to partially blow up the shield and then stand over here and then fly over here and then bounce off these walls and then shoot that rocket, and then you're going to want to hammer that, and then boom, look at that, you're right on the Scarab. It's so easy. Like, why would you even want to do the other strat? I mean, clearly that is the easiest strat ever. Anyway, since the first strat is clearly harder, I wanted to show you what can go wrong about this Scarab fight, because it's a little bit different on Master Chief Collections sometimes. After you kill the first Scarab, it's going to immediately, it'll sometimes turn around like this and it'll back up. Make sure you don't drop until you know that that Scarab's going to stay still. Whenever it has its back turned to you, it never shifts forward. But whenever it's facing you, the majority of the time it will back up. So make sure you know what it's going to do before you land on it. Otherwise you're going to be screwed and you're going to waste any time, like 30 to 40 seconds. But you should have done the other strat anyway. Anyway, so you throw the firebomb at Arbiter here a little bit after he drops, so that his dialogue is just cancelled, so the bridge shows up immediately. Make sure you don't kill him too early. Here you'll see me, I kind of dropped out of the Warthog a little bit early. You can get it to slide through the door, or if you have a hammer, you can hammer it through. And you're going to want to do that because when you drive up forwards, you're going to skip the Cortana scene and save a decent amount of time, and you don't have to walk the length of the bridge. So it's important to do that. Jump whenever you're out of the Warthog as well to keep your speed. So here to begin this bridge section, you can do two really crazy strats. Both of them aren't really consistent at all during a full game, but I'm going to show you anyway because they're viable IL strats that people have done. So first, you want to throw down a DC kind of like this, like right after the peak of your jump, and then you want to kind of be inside the DC, and then slightly move forward and you'll launch out of it. This is rarely consistent. It'll send you flying in all different directions. And even after you get the DC launch like that, you can get splattered on many different objects because you're going so fast. Here, you can also throw a power drain behind the box, then melee it to wobble it, and whenever it's on its back swing, you want to jump up and swing to hammer launch off of it. And it's kind of similar to the DC in that it's inconsistent where you go. You can get splattered on things, you can fall off the bridge. Both of those strats are really inconsistent. If you're going for ILs, you have to do those because the IL for this level is fast enough to the point where you have to do those strats. Anyway, here, once again, you're going to have different weapons. Like those grunts there, you can grab a fuel rod to kill the chieftain up here. Since I still have one laser shot left, I'm going to shoot the laser at the chieftain for a one-shot. If you see the DC in front of me right here, make sure you blow that up whenever you're running past. You'll see why in a few minutes. I'll show you why that's important. Here, whenever I lasered the chieftain, make sure you pick up his hammer so you get full hammer ammo. There tends to be weapons lying next to him, which is a pain in the ass. Also, make sure you pick up a different weapon other than the laser. Carrying a laser or Fjord gun or anything that's not on Cortana will negate your carryover, and you're going to want to carry over a hammer. So make sure you have a hammer or like a hammer and a spiker, or hammer and a carbine, or something that's on Cortana. Here you can optimize movement by slap jumping off of things and stuff like that. Not really a big deal. Try to avoid flood here. They can knock you off the bridge if you jump up in the air and you hit them. You can jump on this little pedestal and hammer your way up on top of this thing. It just avoids enemy movement that can get in your way. And you can hammer launch off this guy, and like I said before, this DC can get in your way. That's why you want to destroy it. Coming up here, you can do the same thing you did on the last structure. I kind of fail it here. It's not really a big deal. Like I said, even if you get up here, it doesn't save you that much more time. It's just like I showed you there, the enemies get in your way when you go down below sometimes. So it's better off just to go up where there's no enemies. And here there's a final box launch you can do over to your left. You can see right there the box wasn't set up, but I set up this one. You kind of want to aim it right down the center of the bridge, because any other direction will cause you to fly off. This one's kind of a little inconsistent as well, mostly because that bridge section is kind of small. But yeah, that's Covenant, pretty much. I'm just gonna show you the paths normally, just walking, just in case people don't really know how to run in a straight line. Either way. I thank everybody for watching these tutorials. I hope you guys pick up this game. It's a pretty sick game. I didn't go over everything that you could possibly go over on this level because it's a pain. There's way too much stuff that people do differently, and I figured I'd just go with the one that works for me. And I have a pretty good time, so I mean, guys, it works. So just go with what works. But obviously, to make sure you have carryover, have a hammer and a spiker or whatever. But for Floodgate, and there you are, it's Covenant. So, see ya.